Welcome to another electronic video. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Yes, this is an electronic video, but it's going to be a short video. I got back from Jewett City later this morning, Tommy and I, and there wasn't much up there except this here. I picked this up for $10, and the only reason I did is it's in fantastic shape. Didn't really need something like this, but I figured I'd make a video of it and show it to you. It's got all the original documentation and everything else inside. It's a Mercury. It's in like mint condition. A Mercury 1100B. The only thing is not good is it's got a crack here, but you can't feel it. On the glass, the plastic I should say. And the way the meter is, there's a 0 right there. So when you try to turn it to the left-hand side, it binds up in there by way of the set screw. So in other words, it's supposed to sit on the 0, which it does, and it moves okay. So it does have that scratch, but I can't feel it. It's probably a crack, but again, I can't feel it, so that's the only flaw in this thing. I had it out of the case. I looked inside. It looks very clean and good shape inside. It does work. Now, these type of testers are nothing more than simple emission testers, but it was in such nice shape, I had to pick it up. I didn't hassle with the price or anything else. It has a very, very different way of checking for shorts when you're testing tubes. You do not rotate your control like most of your testers for shorts. You have to go by a chart and by the pin numbers on these controls. I'll give you a little overview of the book on it. Let me just move this tester out of the way here, and we'll give you an overview of the book. Alright, let's take the book out first. There's the instructions here. We'll get to that in a minute. This is the setup chart book, model 1100 and 1100A and 1100B. Mercury. Now these are very, very cheap tube testers, but nonetheless, this one was in such wonderful condition that I couldn't pass it up for $10. Naturally, the Night 600 and the others that I've got are a lot better. But again, this is a emission tester. What this tester does not have is a load control, a variable pot. It only has those 3 switches. This is the setup chart, so let me get this out of the way here. Alright. Instead, it has a 4-position switch, which has resistors, I guess, in series with the meter. So that's like a crude control of like a load control or C load or something like that, you know, on most of your testers, similar like the B&K 606 that I have, that has a potentiometer and you can turn it to whatever numbers you want from 0 to 100. Now, this don't have that. This has 3 controls, one here, and one here. And then you've got your special and your regular. You normally keep it down to regular unless there's a setting on the chart that says to set it to special. This is your short indicator right here, where my thumb is. Okay. You've got some pin straighteners over here, right where I'm pointing to here, and a good amount of different sockets for the newer tubes. You also have a place for testing new vistas, which would be this socket right here. And then down here in the bottom right hand corner, right where my thumb is a quality check. You leave it up for shorts and push it down to read the meter readings. I tested a couple tubes on it. It seems to work okay. With this meter, it moves. It's a deoscillable movement, but when it moves, it goes like that. It's one of these wobbly meters. Even though it's got the coil, you can plainly see it in here. So when you test it, it just don't go up like this and then go. It just goes and then ends up wherever. Just a little bit. In other words, it's hard to explain. You have to actually see it. I want to go over, it's a very weird setup for the shorts. So I want to get the book out, the instruction book out, and show you. Which will be this book. Which with this book here. Can't do anything right-handed, I gotta be left-handed. Alright, as you can see, before we get that out all the way and show you, these are the paperwork I got in here. Different notations. This is all original stuff that came with it, including the warranty card, registration card, the Mercury. All the papers. And a brochure, all clipped in this thing here. All right, of all the different instruments that they carry. Different models of the tube testers they have, and of course the television related things like the dot and bar generator and all this other stuff here, and VOMs and VTVMs and some more stuff back here. So some very interesting documentation that is all original to the tester. Alright, here's some more paperwork that's inside the instruction manual. Very hard for me to pick them up. I have to keep my fingernails real short because they tear and break. Okay, here's a notation. The short indicator will glow if its X and Z are set on the same position. So in other words, I'll show you, there's two controls on this that if you have them both set, even without a tube in the tester, the short indicator will light. So there's good notations to have in here telling you about that, and it also mentions it in the instruction book. Here is another piece of information. This is all factory stuff. So this tester is like brand new except for the scratch or crack on the meter face. Alright, I can't get back any further than this. I'll be falling off the edge of the bench here. Okay. Tells you how to use it. But what is very different, and I've never run into this on any, I've had a lot of tube testers. I've had the real cheap ones, even the Lafayette TE15. I own one of those. That was my very first tube tester I got in 1962. Don't have it anymore. And the shorts indicator, the shorts testing is completely different in this tester here. The test procedure, I'm going to have to stop this. I got to find where I got to be, and I got to get this right on my face. Hang on. Okay, I'm not even going to try to read this. You'll be here to 2021 with me reading. So I'm going to put this up here. Pay attention to this area here. It's quite different. And finding shorts in here. So I'm going to leave this up here. I'm using the new JVC that I got. I'll let you read that. Pause the video if I don't leave it on long enough. I'm a slow reader, but I can't read looking at the viewfinder. I gotta have my face on top of the paper. Alright, let's move it up a little bit. Give you a chance to read it. Okay, if you want, just pause the video again. I'll stop the recording now. Alright, this is the next page. Continue on with the testing. If I get you back out here so you can read it. It's quite different. And I'll show you these controls again on the tester. We'll move it up real slow. I like people to leave the text on the screen long enough for me to read it. Some of them, they put them on for 2 seconds and expect you to read it. I don't do things like that. Give you plenty of time to read this here. Those of you who are interested, that is. Okay, now the next page here just tells you what the controls are here. Here we'll just go a little quicker. If you want to pause it, you can. Alright. Okay. There's a lot more in this catalog, on this instruction manual, but there's the schematic, such as it is. It's very, very basic. Nothing much to it. Simple emission tester. But what is very strange and unusual is the way it tests for shorts. From what I was reading in this book, you need a chart, or you got to look up, you got to have a tube manual in front of you so you know what elements, because each switch represents an element, which I understand because that's usually the way the testers are set up. But normally you just rotate a switch through the paces of the different numbers or letters, depending on the tester, and that will indicate whether you got a short in the tube or not. So that's the story there. Now I'm going to show you a closer look at the tube tester itself. Alright, let's see if I can come back just to here. Alright. I'm on the table pod, so it's not really the best tripod to use. So I'll get you locked in here. Okay. You've got switch X, Y, and Z. You do not have any pots on this. So normally you'd rotate one of these and check for shorts over here. But that's not how this works. So what you got to do, unless I read the book wrong, I don't think I did, the instruction book which I just showed you, you have to have a tube, basically have a tube manual in front of you, or something with the tube basing. You have to look up the tube you're testing and know the pins and set the switches wherever they call for on the for the shorts. So if you want to check for shorts between grid and cathode, you have the switches set. You have X and Z. Y is your filament. This one is an on. This is an off position here. This turns the tester off. Okay. This is your filament voltage. So your shorts are tested between elements, and they go up to 12 pins, I believe. So X and Z, these two controls here, are the ones you have to rotate. Each number represents a pin number. And you got to look that up in your tube manual, from what I understand, because there is no tube basing charts on this tube setup book here. All the tube setup book has is tube locations. Now I have checked the 35Z5 in this, it checks good. I checked the 6U8 in this, and it tests good. These are tubes that were tested in my other testers. There is a little thumb wheel trim pot for the meter. This was reading a little low. I knew the tubes tested better on my B&K 606. So I did turn that up a little bit until it's about 80%, 75 to 80% up here. Okay, so that's my find for today. I like it. The knobs are in nice shape. Everything is. There's no scratches on it other than the meter. That's the only thing. And all the original documentation. So I think I did good today. That was all there was at Jewett City. There was nothing else. One more thing, I will test one tube here, just to give you an idea of how that needle wiggles and stuff. I will do that, and I'll be back. Don't go away. As Arnold would say, I'll be back. I have in here a 7551 tube. That's the only markings on it, 7551. I got my controls all set properly. right here. W is set to A. Most of the tubes I've tested so far are up in the A position. This is the sensitivity, as I told you. A step switch through different resistors for the meter. So that kind of takes care of the load control. I would much rather have the load control. But anyways, I don't understand one thing on this, and that's over here. At the angle I'm at, I hope you can see it because I'm shading the camera. I'm shading the picture with my camera shadow. 7551, all the settings are here, but we've got on this 7551 tube, I have to use my magnifier in the viewfinder, 7551 tube. X is set at 1, Y is set at F, Z is set at 2, W is set at A, socket 1, X-3. That I don't understand, and if you look up here, be careful I don't take my eyes off the thing, because this, okay? So I don't know what that means, X3. So let's go over and put it on X3. I did it before, it didn't do anything. I don't really know what it's supposed to do. Grid 2, STNT, STN, you have to excuse me, I got piss poor eyesight. Grid 2, STNT, it looks like. Alright, so we're in regular. You don't push the quality down until you're ready for it. So X3. Alright, I'm on X3. Not sure what that means. But the short didn't come on. I don't know if that's a short test or what it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to be back down to 1. I'm off camera as always. Push the quality. Now watch that meter. It's unusually behaving. See how it wobbles? Do it again. It's a regular deoscillable movement. You can see it, the coil in there. But the meter behaves like these type of meters. You know, like the old cars, you know, the old charging, you know, amp meters in the old cars years ago. And these, I don't think are deoscillable. I'm not sure what they are, but that's the way that meter in the tube test is behaving. So let's set this to X3. Let me get my magnifier. I can't see through the viewfinder. All right, we're on X3, right there. See it? Let's see what that does. Maybe that's test 2, I don't know. No. Okay, so I don't know what X, it's supposed to be on X1 anyways. If I put it back there, now we get our reading. But that meter doesn't seem to like to... It might be normal, but I've had a lot of cheap testers and none of them ever work like this. But normally you'd rotate for shorts. So I really don't know. All right, now what they're telling you in the warnings that I showed down here on this paperwork, I removed the tube. If you have X and Z set at the same number, the shorts light will light. All right, so X is set on 1. If you set Z on 1, short light will come on. If you set X on 2, the light is off. But if you set Z on 2, the light goes on again. So it tells you right in the book, if X and Z are on the same number, the short light will light. So that's a normal function of the way this wiring is set up in this. So that's fine. But we'll turn this down and off here. That's your filament and your power switch right here. Okay, so we'll unplug it. And that's it. I think it's confusing. Because the book has these numbers on these tubes on the setup chart. Here's some setup numbers here, tubes numbers. In the right-hand column, on some of your tubes, you've got the X dash and whatever numbers they are. And you've got more down here, see them? Most of your tests are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, but you also got a 6th column on some of your tubes. It does not tell you in the book. I looked at it, and I couldn't find it in here. So it's going to be confusing trying to test shorts in this, and you're not supposed to really just push the emission switch without checking for shorts, because it could damage the meter. So that's the story there. Alright, I just wanted to show you this. It's a long video, as all my videos seem to be. I can't seem to make them short, no matter how hard I try. Alright, folks. That concludes the Mercury 1100A and 1100B model tube tester. Thanks for watching.